Brendan Sorsby just blasted the CFL after they completely rejected him. The talented college quarterback was blocked from signing any deal after gambling allegations destroyed his NCAA career. Hit subscribe and stay till the end for the brutal statement he just dropped, calling out the league's player eligibility rules. The CFL officially refused to let Brendan Sorsby hit the Canadian field right after the NFL scrapped their supplemental draft plans for the young quarterback. That is two major leagues shutting him down in weeks. And man, the football community went wild over this. When the CFL rejection news broke, fans immediately lit up social media. "That one has to sting," posted Boston Connor from the Pat McAfee Show. Sports analyst Tom Downey quickly fired off. "Wonder if he is going to threaten to sue them, too." Former NFL quarterback Chase Daniel was genuinely stunned by this, adding, "Not even CFL dog." NFL podcaster Mac Perry posted, "They are teaching that young man a hard lesson." Others skipped the jokes entirely and just reported the hard truth. Brendan Sorsby cannot play anywhere in 2026, one creator stated, while a Miami Dolphins reporter agreed, saying, "Really has absolutely zero options right now. That is the internet for you." But what did the CFL actually tell us? Upholding the integrity of the league and ensuring fair play are paramount to the CFL. The league's official statement read, "The gambling allegations involving Brendan Sorsby are incredibly serious and concerning. At this time, the CFL will not register a contract for him, and 0 teams are permitted to add him to their negotiation list. No contract, no talks, no pathway in." That makes league number 2 to slam the door on the Sorsby within weeks, and my fellow analysts noticed fast. Mike Florio over at Pro Football Talk quickly pointed out that Sorsby never really showed interest in the CFL anyway. His primary options, Florio noted, were either legally challenging the NFL ruling in court or accepting that he will not get drafted by an NFL squad until April 2027. Both the NFL and CFL basically banned him for 2026. And since he dropped his NCAA lawsuit returning to college, ball was completely off the table. The UFL could theoretically save Sorsby, but that is a spring league that already ended its 2026 season before he could join. He will probably set his sights on the 2027 NFL draft now. So, you and I have to ask, how does a 22-year-old go from potential first-round NFL talent, one of the most hyped quarterbacks in America, to a player no professional league will touch? To figure that out, we need to check the tape, not the scandal, the actual player. Because to truly grasp this massive downfall, you have to see what was lost. Brendan Sorsby is an American quarterback born January 20th, 2004. He slung the rock for the Indiana Hoosiers and the Cincinnati Bearcats. Growing up in Denton, Texas, he attended Lake Dallas High School, earning the Denton Record Chronicle 2021 Quarterback of the Year award, finishing his high school run with 1,271 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, and 823 rushing yards alongside 15 scores. He was not a 5-star recruit or a national headline. Rated as a solid 3-star prospect, he chose to play college ball at Indiana, brushing off offers from Army, Delaware, Fordham, Navy, and several smaller programs. Trust me, nobody was writing massive hype pieces about Brendan Sorsby back in high school. But that changed fast. He spent 2 grinding seasons at Indiana, redshirting in 2022 before throwing for 1,587 yards and 15 touchdowns, with just 5 picks in 2023. He played 10 games, making 7 starts. We saw a brilliant 5-touchdown clinic at Illinois and a 3-touchdown passing show at Penn State during his very first road start. That tape was undeniable. He hit the transfer portal, landed at Cincinnati, and folks, that is where this story absolutely takes off. Here is the reality about Brendan Sorsby, the athlete, before the off-field drama ruined everything. His game film was undeniably electric. In 2024, Sorsby was the lone FBS quarterback to drop a 425-yard passing game and a 125-yard rushing clinic. He finished with 2,813 passing yards, 18 touchdowns, and 9 rushing scores, hitting 64% of his passes. That is a downright elite statistical resume. The kind of tape that makes NFL scouts drool. His 2025 season was by far his best. 26 passing touchdowns against just 5 interceptions, adding 580 rushing yards and 9 more touchdowns using his legs. 36 total touchdowns put him in the Davey O'Brien quarterback class. During the final regular season game at TCU, he matched Desmond Ridder for the school record for total touchdowns in a season as quarterback with 36 overall. The 6'3", 235-pound senior was a potential first-round prospect for the 2027 draft. Before this gambling bomb dropped, ESPN ranked him the absolute top transfer quarterback available this offseason. He racked up over 7,000 passing yards and 82 total touchdowns across his stints at Cincinnati and Indiana. Let that sink in. The premier transfer quarterback prospect, potential first-round pick, 82 touchdowns. Sorsby showcased every trait of a future pro franchise quarterback. The real problem is separating the athlete from his baggage. CBS Sports reported that scouts reviewing his 2025 tape quickly saw why analysts thought he possessed true franchise quarterback potential. On film, his playing style sparked some early Josh Allen comparisons. Not because the pure talent was identical, but because he blindly trusted his arm, played outside the pocket, and was willing to live with those mistakes. The result? A passer looking brilliant one snap and totally reckless the next. Several pro executives believed he warranted a second-round pick in the supplemental draft. One league scout predicted Sorsby would easily go late in the first round if he entered April's traditional draft. An executive called him a remarkably smooth thrower, hitting every route on the field, adding he was massive, athletic, created off schedule, and powered in rushing touchdowns during crucial short-yardage goal line snaps. So when the transfer portal opened after that monster Cincinnati run, the bidding war went crazy. He finished the 2025 season at Cincinnati, tossing 27 touchdowns and 2,800 yards through the air. As a portal prize, he signed with Texas Tech in January, expected to be among the elite college passers in 2026. He dominated at Cincinnati, turning that fame into a massive free agency tour. He finally chose Texas Tech, inking a brand deal reportedly worth several $1 million. Then the wheels completely fell off. Authorities alerted a sportsbook, which immediately warned the NCAA, launching the gambling probe. That investigation went public in April, and Texas Tech placed him on indefinite leave so he could seek rehab for a serious gambling addiction. The kid who clawed from a 3-star recruit to a multi-million-dollar contract and a projected first-round ceiling now anchored a scandal that was about to cost him absolutely everything he had worked for. Hit subscribe, because the emerging details were far worse than anyone in sports imagined. This is where things get heavy, because this wasn't just a one-time slip, not some single bad choice in a moment of weakness. Court documents exposed a years-long, calculated pattern, carefully hidden behind the sports betting apps of family and close friends. Sorsby placed at least 40 wagers involving Indiana football while quarterbacking for the Hoosiers. He used sportsbook profiles registered to family and buddies to bet roughly $90,000 across 4 years and kept gambling after transferring from Cincinnati to Texas Tech. Let that sink in. 4 seasons, 3 different programs, thousands of wagers. He confessed to placing at least 2,900 bets totaling over $30,000 during his 2 Indiana years, plus 165 wagers risking $38,000 during his 2 seasons starting under center for Cincinnati. He continued, placing bets after hitting Texas Tech in January, admitting he wired over $65,000 to buddies to cover college career wagers placed on his behalf. Our guy used various betting apps to gamble, including FanDuel, Underdog, Hard Rock Bet, and Prize Picks. And here's the kicker he rarely ever wagered under: his actual name. Throughout 2 Cincinnati seasons, Sorsby fed over $60,000 into a FanDuel profile registered to his brother-in-law, shared between Sorsby and a buddy. While out at Texas Tech, he wired $5,000 to someone betting on pro hoops, baseball, and golf for him. Now, here's the part that caused a nuclear meltdown from sports leagues and regulators. The devastating wagers dropped during the 2022 season, when Sorsby dropped at least 40 separate bets on his own squad while redshirting. The court records prove the quarterback made wagers ranging from $1 to $114 from September to October of that season. Sorsby fiercely pushed back on the framing of those wagers. In a May letter to NCAA reinstatement staff, he claimed those bets made him feel like he was backing his boys while sitting out, exact like fans throwing money on their hometown rosters. Quote, "It was a way to feel more connected to my squad while riding the bench. I always bet Indiana to win." The official court facts also ultimately concluded that, welcome to the sports desk. Drop a like, because Sorsby never actually bet on his own Indiana teammates during games he played. He did not try to rig games, alter the outcome, or mess with the integrity of any college football matchup. He flat out denies any point-shaving rumors. But as our sports editors know, the NCAA frankly did not care. There is no gray area here. The NCAA enforces a strict zero-tolerance policy when players gamble on college sports. Any athlete caught betting on their own squad or even other teams within their athletic department will absolutely face a permanent ban from college sports. In his official statement, Sorsby told officials he battled a dangerous compulsion. His gambling spiraled fast. He wrote, "It became a habit for me to bet. My betting became a compulsion, which made it virtually impossible to resist the constant notifications I received from sports betting apps. I lost complete control of my addiction." He confessed to placing 2,900 wagers, risking way over $30,000 while at Indiana, including 40 bets on the Hoosiers football program. Sorsby exited Lubbock late April, checking into a 35-day inpatient rehab facility at Algamus located in Goodyear, Arizona, to treat diagnosed anxiety and gambling disorders. He underwent a 34-day residential addiction treatment program earlier this year, publicly confessing his betting habit was completely uncontrollable. Legal docs confirmed this was a compulsive sickness, not just casual weekend betting. At 22, he falls right into the exact demographic relentlessly targeted by mobile sportsbooks, platforms that exploded in popularity for young guys caught in a hype culture of internet gambling, prediction markets, and crypto. Schemes heavily pushed by influencers promising fast cash. The harsh reality here wasn't some devious mastermind cheating the system. We saw a young athlete entirely swallowed by a rapidly escalating sickness, but the damage was irreversible, and college football authorities were forced to step in. The NCAA hammered him, but Sorsby fought back hard. He hired one of the most notoriously aggressive sports attorneys in the business and went to war. Facing this major NCAA gambling investigation, Sorsby officially retained elite antitrust lawyer Jeffrey Kessler to fight for his college eligibility. Guys, Kessler is the exact name that makes sports commissioners sweat. This lawyer has famously battled the NFL, the NBA, and the NCAA for years and dominated. Hit subscribe if you love this legal drama. The NCAA officially denied Sorsby's desperate appeal for 2026 season reinstatement. Naturally, Texas Tech quickly announced their plans to fight the crushing ruling. Kessler and his aggressive legal team filed a razor-sharp injunction. They blasted the NCAA's glaringly hypocritical stance on sports betting and called out their total failure to actually protect and promote the health of Sorsby. The explosive filing argued that doctors clinically diagnosed him with a severe gambling addiction, classifying it firmly as a serious mental health crisis. They argued further that the NCAA unfairly weaponized his illness to fake competitive integrity, while they are simultaneously cashing in on the exact gambling networks they regulate. Even the Texas Tech president jumped in. President Lawrence Chovanec fiercely responded to the NCAA's harsh decision, writing, "As a generation of college athletes face the legalization and rapid proliferation of sports betting in our country, gambling addiction is rising to the point of epidemic among college-aged men in particular. The NCAA's stated mission includes fostering student-athletes' lifelong well-being, and they have claimed their goal is to promote a culture of care for student-athletes' mental health. Gambling addiction is a clinically recognized behavioral disorder." Then, a massive court ruling shocked the college football world. A Texas judge handed Sorsby a stunning injunction against the NCAA, legally blocking the organization from suspending him over the association's strict gambling policies. The judge ruled he would only sit out Texas Tech's first 2 season games, which his own lawyers cleverly proposed. For one brief moment, our analysts thought Sorsby was actually going to beat the system. He was suddenly eligible, back at practice, and dominating the spring scrimmage. A real comeback story seemed possible. But then the Big 12 Conference attacked. While the league filed for a federal injunction to secure the right to punish the quarterback under conference rules, while the NCAA demanded a fast-track ruling on his status, Sorsby shocked us all and declared for the NFL supplemental draft. Once the Big 12 pushed their federal case against him and his school, Sorsby dropped his lawsuit entirely. Welcome back, football fans. Hit subscribe. Sorsby declared for the supplemental draft, but the NFL said no to see the field in 2026. The league simply scrapped the supplemental draft. That call rested on the Shields right under the collective bargaining agreement to skip it. League officials went on record claiming the event would just distract teams kicking off training camps. But hey, that was just the public relations spin. Behind closed doors, their actual fear was massive. One league insider specifically told reporters, his application carries with it a lot of issues. Core of the game integrity issues. Sorsby confessed to placing thousands of wagers on college and pro sports. Those bets totaled roughly $90,000. He even made 40 wagers on Indiana football while wearing their uniform. Kessler hit back fast. The quarterback's attorney told ESPN the league's ban violated the CBA and federal law, promising quick action with the Players Association. An inside source confirmed that the union hadn't decided if real legal grounds existed yet. Now, the NFL's official letter to Sorsby was a masterclass in lawyer talk. The document claimed his only reason for seeking early entry was his sudden loss of eligibility. The petition offered zero context about the actual reasons or timing of the NCAA's ruling, the letter stated. It mentioned public sources showed the NCAA handed down a permanent ban over a long, sustained pattern of shady sports gambling activity during his college days. Then, almost like an afterthought, a door crack opened slightly. The NFL's letter to Sorsby read, "By all accounts, you are a talented player with the potential for future success. We encourage you to focus on preparing for possible entry into the NFL through the 2027 draft." That is the league's polite way of saying maybe later, offering no guarantees. Drop a like if you are following along, because Sorsby's current picture looks terribly bleak. He cannot play college ball anywhere. The NCAA banned him for life, and after pulling his own lawsuit, that path is completely dead. Following the nasty legal fight over his betting habits, Sorsby formally left Texas Tech and chased the supplemental draft. We know they rejected him. Now, the Canadian Football League, typically a safe haven for quarterbacks who miss out on the NFL, the exact league Shannon Sharpe advised him to try on his podcast just days before getting cut, slammed its doors shut today. With options fading, Broncos legend Shannon Sharpe proposed a slower path back to the pros, saying on his Nightcap show June 25th, well, he can't play in the NFL. He can go to Canada. Why, like Canada. His co-host, former Bengals star Chad Johnson, totally agreed with him, but knowing the Canadian standard, added a quick caveat, I wonder who has his rights, because that would be a good thing to do instead of taking the whole year off. That advice instantly expired. Canada had completely different plans. The CFL usually acts as a safety net for quarterbacks who, sadly, miss out on NFL rosters. Refusing to even look at Sorsby highlights the major red flags leagues have regarding gambling scandals. Sorsby begged the NFL for entry after losing his long eligibility fight over placing countless sports wagers, including bets against his own team. Sports analyst Paul Meyerberg mentioned that Sorsby might need to explore junior college ball, mirroring what current New Orleans Saints backup Hunter Dekkers did after earning an indefinite gambling suspension back at Iowa State. Dekkers was the projected starter for the Cyclones, but got ruled completely ineligible right before the 2023 season, when investigators proved he bet on at least one Cyclones game. That wager was merely $15 on Iowa State beating Oklahoma State during a 2021 matchup he didn't play in. He spent one season at Iowa Western before joining the Saints as an undrafted free agent, stashed all of last season on their practice squad. That is the exact blueprint Sorsby could try. But even junior college offers zero promises. His last realistic option is likely junior college, though nothing is set in stone. To play junior college ball, Sorsby still needs clearance from the NCAA, requiring a major review. As Mike Florio noted at Pro Football Talk, seeing no lawsuits filed since the league's initial rejection basically confirms we won't see any lawsuit. The NFL teased 2027, but his fate remains uncertain if the league accepts his January declaration. Trust me, that state-level heat has not cooled off either. Gaming regulators across multiple states just launched deep investigations into Sorsby's alleged sports betting activity. Veteran broadcaster Dan Patrick offered what might be the absolute most pragmatic advice from anyone in the sports media landscape today. He said, "If I am Brendan Sorsby, on your own time, on your own dime, go, a round of colleges. Maybe you do a sit-down with 60 Minutes. In other words, rebuild that shattered reputation first. The career could follow. Hit like if you agree. Some insiders believe his window is not closed. Sorsby has at least shown clear signs he understands the gravity of his situation. He checked into a residential treatment center for gambling addiction earlier this year. He publicly admitted his sports betting habit had become completely uncontrollable. He stated his intent to continue treatment and recovery efforts, all while actively rebuilding his football future. Meanwhile, the CFL explicitly stated they will not take him. And the potential lawsuits hanging over each rejection only amplify the tragedy of a once promising prospect who became one of the offseason's biggest cautionary tales. Hit subscribe. We have seen similar cases before, and they consistently resulted in brutal punishments. Pete Rose caught a lifetime ban from Major League Baseball, while Calvin Ridley served a full-year suspension from the NFL. Those dark precedents hang over Sorsby's situation like a shadow. The raw talent is undeniable. Pro evaluators made that crystal clear. A potential franchise quarterback, a dual threat who makes every single throw. But his betting history spans 4 years, 3 programs, thousands of wagers, and at least 40 bets on his own football team. And right now, not a single league on this continent is willing to put that risk on the field in 2026. What comes next for Brendan Sorsby remains totally unclear. The 2027 draft feels like the most realistic next step, but it is a brutal wait, and those lingering questions will not just evaporate before then. Look, he is 22 years old. He finished rehab. He publicly owned the addiction. In football terms, we are watching a career barely started, but the leagues drew a firm line. Like and subscribe for more, because right now, every